The Articles of Confederation was the first document that governed the United States, and it was mainly used during the Revolutionary War and immediately following the Revolutionary War. So, a quick overview, this was our very first try at a central government in the United States, and we needed one because we were currently fighting the Revolutionary War against the British, and we needed a governing body to help run the war and make sure things stayed consistent on the home front. So the goal was that they wanted a very weak central government because we had previously had a very strong central government in the King of England and Parliament. And so we wanted the exact opposite of that because whenever you break up with someone, you generally want exactly the opposite of whatever that person is. Plus, at that point, they were very focused on states. Virginia cared about Virginia, Massachusetts cared about Massachusetts, and such. So those governments were going to be stronger, whereas this country sized government was not going to be very strong, so that they could retain the strength in the state. Okay? It is adopted widely in 1781. Now, I really want you to think about the Articles of Confederation as the rough draft. Okay, so what were the problems with the Articles of Confederation? Well, the central/national government did not have any powers that were not expressly given to it. So it was I didn't say you could do it, so therefore you can't do it. Okay. This picture that we have here of Virginia and Massachusetts being like two big, bulky guys that are much stronger than Uncle Sam is a good illustration of this. There was only one branch of government, and that was Congress. Okay, so we only had a legislative body, one body there to make laws, no court system, no president. At least no president that had any powers. And there was only one House of Congress. Hopefully, you already know that today we have two. We have the House of Representatives and the Senate. And each state had one vote. All right, so what could the national government do? They could declare war, have ambassadors, make treaties, borrow money, print money, run the post office, and have an army and navy. Okay. Now, yeah, this is a fairly good sized list, but if these are the only things you can do, it still creates problems. So what couldn't the central government do? They could not tax, okay? It's hard to do literally anything without money, and they had a lot of debt left over at the end of the Revolutionary War because wars are very expensive. The states basically had to give them money to pay off their debts, but they wouldn't give them money, and they had to borrow money from banks and other governments essentially to just function. They could not regulate trade. They could not make the states follow the laws that they passed. And again, all 13 states had to agree to make any changes. And if you've ever tried to figure out what you're going to put on a pizza with like more than 4 people in a room, you know how difficult this would be to get 13 people to agree. So basically, there's a ton, this is a huge epic fail. Okay, states started printing their own money, which you can imagine would be chaos. The states are negotiating with countries on their own. States are taxing goods that come in from other states. They're essentially acting like their own little countries, okay? And you cannot be a unified country if you all act like your own separate countries, okay? There's a lot of money problems. Things are generally bad, okay? So we have lots of foreign enemies that are circulating in the waters. Okay, think the British, because we had just fired them. And they would have been happy to take right back over and step back in. Okay, and they had never withdrawn from the Great Lakes, so they were still just hanging on out there. Okay, so as we Articles of Confederation was a huge fail.